Welcome back, dear children. Now we will move to section D of our chapter. In this chapter, we are going to discuss about magnifying glass or simple microscope. Okay, magnifying glass or simple microscope. Now, if you want to see a small object distinctly and clearly, that means separate distinctly means what? Many objects may be there. So if you want to see it separately and clearly. So if you want to see an object distinctly, then we'll be bringing that object closer to our eye, isn't it? If the object is brought closer to the eye, you can see it clearly. But there is a limit for the distance. If I keep an object so close to my eye, is it possible to see that? No. At that time, our vision will be blurred, isn't it? So if you're keeping an object very close to eye means we can't see that object clearly. Our vision will be blurred. So, an object, if you want to see an object distinctly and clearly, there should be a minimum distance between the eye and the object. Okay? And if you keep the object at that minimum distance, then only it can be clearly seen. And this minimum distance can be called as least distance of distinct vision. Okay, least distance of distinct vision. It's represented by the letter capital D and it is equal to 25 centimeter in the case of a normal eye. For a normal eye, least distance of distinct vision is equal to 25 centimeter. So did you understand what is least distance of distinct vision? If you want to see an object distinctly, it should be kept at a minimum distance of 25 centimeter from a normal eye. So that distance is known as least distance of distinct vision. Now, how can we see an object? Light rays from that object should enter the eye and then it forms an inverted image on our retina, isn't it? That is how we can see an object. Now, the size of the image formed on the retina actually depends on the angle subtended by the object on the eye. Okay, so if you want to see an object, light rays from that object should enter the eye and then it forms an image on our retina. So the size of that image formed on retina depends on the angle subtended, that means formed, okay, the angle made by the object on the eye. So, if the angle subtended by the object is small, then the size of the image formed on the retina also will be less. If the angle subtended is small, the size of the image will be more. If an object subtends an angle of 1 minute, that means 1 by 60 degree. Okay. So, if the angle subtended by an object is less than 1 minute or 1 by 60 degree, then it won't be visible for us. Okay. So, if the angle subtended is less than 1 minute, we cannot see that object. That means it is a very small object. Okay. So, in order to see that, what can we do? In this case, we'll be using a convex lens of short focal length. A convex lens of short focal length can be used. Keep this convex lens in front of our eye such that the object comes in the focal length of the lens. Okay. If an object subtends an angle less than 1 minute, it won't be visible for us. So if you want to see that, what can we do? Just take a convex lens of short focal length and keep it closer to the eye such that the object which we want to see, that object should be on the focal length of this lens. Okay. Then what happens? If an object is placed between the focal length and optic center of a convex lens, what about the nature of the image formed? Last case, isn't it? Sixth case, we'll be getting a virtual, erect and magnified image. So same thing happens here. If you are keeping a convex lens in front of our eye such that the object lies on the focal length of that convex lens, then a virtual, erect and magnified image of that object will be formed at a distance of least distance of distinct vision from the lens. Lensil ninnum 25 centimeter will be getting, and this is the sixth case. That means we are getting the image on the which part? On the same side of the lens. Object and image lies on the same side of the lens, isn't it? So the image will be formed at a distance of capital D, that is least distance of distinct vision from the lens. And this image will subtend an angle greater than 1 minute, and so it will be visible for us. Okay, so we have to keep a convex lens in front of our eyes such that the object should be on the focal length of that lens. Object focal length il vannal, that is, if the object lies between the focus and the optic center, we'll be getting a virtual, erect and magnified image. So this magnified image, virtual, erect and magnified image will be formed at a distance of capital D, that is least distance of distinct vision from the lens. And this image of the object subtends an angle which is enough in order to make an image on the retina. So is it clear? Now we are going to discuss about a simple microscope or a magnifying glass, isn't it? If you are taking a convex lens of short focal length and if it is mounted on a lens stand, then we can call it as a simple microscope or a magnifying glass. So nothing more to do there, just a convex lens of shorter focal length. And if it is placed on a lens holder, the people who looks the lines on the hand, kainotakare, so those will be carrying this convex lens or a simple microscope with them. Have you seen that? That is a simple microscope, just a convex lens mounted on a lens holder. Okay. Or when you move to the watch shops, repairing shops and all, you can see they will be carrying this simple microscope or magnifying glass. We have the name microscope, it doesn't mean that it is the other one. What we use is compound microscope. Simple microscope means just a convex lens. Watch repairing shop, you can see that. Okay. Just a convex lens of short focal length mounted on a lens stand can act as a simple microscope. Okay. Now we have the ray diagram for this. That is the sixth case. Do you remember the sixth case in the of a convex lens? We are having the convex lens, principal axis, optic center, then F1, F2. If we keep an object between the focus and the optic center, first ray parallel to the principal axis, after refraction it moves through the second focus, then another one going through the optic center. Then if you extend the light rays in the backward direction, what happens? It meets at a point and you will be getting a virtual, erect and magnified image. And this distance between the lens and the image will be equal to 25 centimeter in the case of a normal eye. Okay, for a normal eye this will be equal to D. So from here we will be seeing this will be seeing this image. Actually, object is here. A person is standing here, so at first when he is looking, he can't see the object clearly because the angle subtended by the object is so less. Then we'll be keeping a convex lens in front of his eye so that we can see the image formed by this lens. So this person will be seeing this image and the angle subtended by this image on the retina is more so that it can be seen clearly. So is it clear about a simple microscope or a magnifying glass? Next is about the magnifying power. Okay, magnifying power of a simple microscope is given by the equation 1 plus d by f. Okay, magnifying power, how much power is there for this microscope? It can be calculated using the equation 1 plus d by f, where capital M stands for the magnifying power, d is the least distance of distinct vision, which is equal to 25 centimeter for normal eye, and f is the focal length of the lens. Now, how can we increase the magnifying power of a lens? From this, here we have the focal length in the denominator. So, if you are reducing the focal length, then magnifying power can be increased. Okay. So, magnifying power can be increased by reducing the focal length or by using a lens with short focal length. This question also came many times for the board exam. That is, how can you calculate the magnifying power of a simple microscope? Then how can you increase the magnifying power of a simple microscope? How can you increase the magnifying power? By using a lens of shorter focal length. Now, about the uses of a magnifying lens. So, what are the uses of this magnifying lens or a simple microscope? Already I told you, it is used in the watch shops. In order to see the tiny parts, they will be using. Then in almost all the optical instruments, they will be using the lens. Okay. Now, the next one is about the applications of lenses. So there are many applications in the using a lens, either convex or concave. So when you are speaking about convex lens in the telescope, camera and all, we are having two lenses. One is known as objective and the other one is known as eyepiece. Okay, we are not going to learn in detail about that. So normally a convex lens is used as an objective. Okay, so you can see the word objective in the textbook. I told you two lenses will be there. One is called objective and the other is known as eyepiece. So this objective will be normally a convex lens. So in camera, telescope, etc. this is used. Okay. Then the next one is about our eye lens. Our eye has a convex lens. The lens in our eye is actually a convex lens, and that is the reason why a real and inverted image is formed on our retina. So eye lens is convex. Then another most important use of a lens is in the form of a spectacle. So I think you have learned about short-sightedness and long-sightedness, isn't it? What is short-sightedness or myopia? If a person can see the things closer to his eye, but he can't see the things far, then you can call it as short-sightedness or myopia. Okay? Then we will call it as myopia or short-sightedness. So, for this short-sightedness or myopia, we will be using a concave lens. Then, in the case of old people, they can see things far from them, but the things closer, it will be difficult for them to read the newspapers and all. That is, the things which are closer to the eye won't be clear. So, that is hypermetropia or long-sightedness. Okay. Hypermetropia or long-sightedness means they can see the things far. Okay. But the things which are at a greater distance from them will be visible, but the things closer to the eye won't be visible. that is long-sightedness or hypermetropia, and in order to cure that, not cure, so to see it properly, we'll be using a convex lens. So I think once this question came for the exam, so this you should remember, okay, because that is what it comes in our day-to-day life. Normally people will be using a concave lens if they are suffering from myopia or short-sightedness. With age, what happens? They cannot see the things closer to them. That means they may have hypermetropia, and in that case they will be using a convex lens. Then if a person with short-sightedness become aged, then he will get this long-sightedness also. That is, both myopia and hypermetropia will be there. In that case, they will be using spectacles with both lenses, with convex and concave. Okay, so you can see when you take the spectacles of your grandparents, you can see here a small circle, then the other part will be different from it. So the one which is in the bottom is convex and the other bigger one will be concave. Convex is used in order to read the newspapers. In order to walk and all, they will be using the other one which is concave. Okay, and again this concave lens is used in a Galilean telescope. Okay, I think only these many uses are given there. Yeah. Then one more thing is mentioned here. A single convex lens usually forms a colored or a blurred image. So chromatic aberration, it is an error which comes in the case of a lens that you will learn only in +2 level about that. Okay. So in order to overcome that defect, normally a concave lens will be used with a convex lens. In the case of optical instruments, when you learn about optical instruments, you will understand. Chromatic aberration, that means a colored or a blurred image will be formed. So instead of using a convex lens alone, they will be using a concave lens also with that. So is it clear? From this section you have to study only about simple microscope and applications of lenses. Then next is about the experimental determination of focal length. 2 or 3 methods are given there. In that one we have for the practical. Okay. So no need to go through that theory portion now. When I discuss about the practicals, I will tell you. Just one is needed. No need to consider it in the theory portion. Now the last one is how to differentiate between a convex lens and a concave lens. So 3 different methods are given there. So if you are touching, by touching, how can you differentiate between a convex lens and a concave lens? So when you touch, what is the specialty of a convex lens? Its center is bulged and it is thin towards the periphery, isn't it? So when you are touching, if the center portion is bulged, that will be a convex lens, and if the center is thin and the sides are thick, then it will be a concave lens. Okay. Then by reading, when you are using a lens to read things, how can you identify whether it is convex or concave? Just bring the lens closer to the printed letters. If it appears clear, that will be a convex lens, and if it is blurred, it will be a concave lens. And the last one, when you are looking into a distant object, using if it is a convex lens, it appears to be inverted. If it is a concave lens, it will be erect. Okay. So 3 cases I have told you to distinguish or differentiate between a convex lens and a concave lens. For a convex lens, the center part will be thick and the sides will be thin. For a concave, center is thin and the sides will be thick. When you are reading letters, when you are viewing letters using a lens, if the letters are clear, magnified and clear, then you can say that it is a convex lens. If it is diminished and blurred, it will be a concave lens. When you are looking into a distant object, if it appears inverted, that will be a convex lens, and if it appears erect, it will be a concave lens. So with this, we completed this chapter. Okay. So children, here you can just write the questions given in the exercise. Page number 131. I don't want lecture notes. From the last video, you have to write the numericals. Then from this exercise 5D given in page number 131. Okay, only very few questions are given there. I don't want the questions related to the determination of focal length. Just about magnifying glass, applications, then how to differentiate between convex and concave lens. Is it clear? No need for lecture notes. Write the question answers. Then thank you children.